stars and horseshoes, clovers and blue moons, hourglasses, rainbows, and tasty red balloons. Hey!
Lucky Charm cereal, part of a good breakfast.
If you follow my channel, you'll know that I've been on the carnivore diet for almost 9 months now. And in that time, a lot of things have changed. I've seen a lot of health improvements like weight loss and becoming arthritis-free. And something else has changed for me. I started paying more attention to nutrition. And I discovered something I want to share. But first, I'm aiming to get to 50,000 subscribers by the end of April. I would love it if you could be part of that goal with me and click the subscribe button so we can get to 50K together. Thank you so much. So let's get into it. Since I've been on the carnivore diet and feeling so good, it has made me more cautious and skeptical about the food that's sold in supermarkets and convenience stores. You know, the stuff that isn't around the perimeter of the store. The processed and packaged foods that come in the brightly colored boxes. You see, what happens after being on keto or carnivore for an extended period of time is that anything artificial just looks and smells like poison. And when you look at the nutrition labels, that only confirms it. So of course, foods like packaged cereals aimed at children are unhealthy. And I'd be surprised if there was anyone out there claiming these were good for children. Although it's not through a lack of trying. I remember not so many years ago the food industry trying to convince us that these were a good nutritious source of energy for kids.
New Weetabix chocolate spoon size. Fuel for fun.
Anyway, the point is, if the food's been manufactured, I'm way more skeptical about it now since I've been doing carnivore than I ever was before. And you might be thinking, well, if you're carnivore, what does it matter? You're only eating meat, eggs, and a bit of dairy anyway. And if you're eating anything that's processed, like a cereal or an energy bar, you're not doing carnivore anyway. True. But there are a couple of things. First, I've done low carb and keto in the past. And in those days, I'd be more likely to partake in a low carb snack or energy bar than I would be now. And so I still notice things. Second, I think it's important to talk about what the food industry does to reinforce to everyone, regardless what their diet is, that they should be wary about what is presented as food. And so the problem here is really the labels. And I've heard Bart Kay talk on his channel about some of the problems with food labeling, and this made me interested to try and find out more. So let's have a look at some of this stuff. So now I'm actually on a site called sentientmedia.org. Now this is a media organization who is no friend of carnivore dieters. This is a media organization whose mission, his stated mission, let me find it for you, is as a non-profit news organization changing the conversation around animal agriculture across the globe. We create public awareness of the agricultural industry's impact on the climate crisis, extraction of natural resources, etc., etc. Right? So this site is one that is no friend of carnivores, but I thought a lot of the information they provide in this particular post is very relevant to nutrition. Okay, and relevant when we are talking about the way the food industry is not being 100% honest with us. Okay, let's put it that way. That's kind of diplomatic. Okay, so I found this post, which I'll link to below, which is 13 misleading food claims and how not to be tricked. All right, and I thought they were just super interesting. Right, so let's just go down and look at some of these. So first one, sugar-free. Now, the guideline for anything that's labeled sugar-free. Now, remember, if you see a package that says sugar-free, you're going to be thinking, wow, this is a healthy option for my family. I don't want to give them any sugar, so this is the way to go. But the trouble is, while the term suggests the products labeled this way could be completely free of sugar, they can actually contain up to 0.5 gram of sugar in a single serving size. So sugar-free is not actually sugar-free necessarily. All right. Now, Labels that say fruit flavored. Now this is very interesting. Okay. So fruit flavored suggests the product is flavored with real fruit. Of course. However, it is not necessarily the case. Instead, these foods are typically flavored with chemicals that impart a fruity taste. So fruit flavored actually means flavored as fruit. Okay, not that there's actually fruit in the food. Okay, a label that says light. Foods labeled as light do not have to meet any standards on their own, but merely in comparison to average food of that type. So, light bread does not have to meet any particular standards of calorie, fat, or cholesterol content on its own. It simply has to be better than the average bread. Okay, so lighter in some way. Okay, doesn't have to be specifically lighter in any way. Now, low carb. This is especially for low carb or keto dieters who would be thinking, low carb is better. So the FDA does not have any guidelines for the labeling of foods as low carb. So anyone can put low carb on a food. It doesn't actually have to mean anything. Okay, here's another one that I love that is also relevant in Japan, because a lot of products do this in Japan. Labels that say natural. The term natural does not have any specific meaning when it comes to marketing foods. Instead, the word is used to elicit assumptions from well-meaning consumers seeking products free of artificial ingredients, right? So natural doesn't mean anything at all. Labels that say organic. In order to be considered organic, foods should adhere to fairly strict requirements such as only using a select few approved pesticides and fertilizers to encourage growth. However, when the term appears on the packaging, consumers tend to assume the food item is of higher quality or healthier than non-organic alternatives. All right. So honestly, if I see something labeled as organic, I'm going to actually start to assume that there are no pesticides at all. It's completely 100% natural. And so this is the problem with food labels. So guys, just a quick video to point out some of the ridiculousness of the way things are labeled on the front of packages or on the nutrition label. Be careful out there. Guys, thanks for watching. Please don't forget to click like and subscribe. And if you'd like to support the channel, consider becoming a channel member. Click the join button under this video or the first link in the description. Thanks again, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next video.